Pharmacy benefit managers under the microscope by Illinois State House legislators, looking at exactly what is a pharmacy benefit manager, how do they impact the state's costs for drugs, for consumers' costs for drugs. A hearing was held yesterday to delve into this deeper. An Illinois House hearing how benefits managers for pharmacies affect drug prices. My colleague Kevin Bessler with the Center Square reporting that pharmacy benefit managers, or PBMs, which negotiate the terms for prescription drug access for much of the country, focus of an Illinois House hearing yesterday up in Chicago. PBMs have been in the spotlight in recent years, with the U.S. Congress seeking to increase transparency into the industry's operations and their effect on prescription drug prices. Pharmacists have urged Illinois state lawmakers to enact legislation banning certain drug pricing practices by PBMs, which they said hurt local pharmacies. Kevin goes on to report with the Center Square that they've testified that they are being damaged by PBMs through the price of acquiring drugs wholesale and dispensing them at little or no profit. So during yesterday's Illinois House Healthcare Availability and Accessibility Committee hearing, Chad Wurz, CEO of the American Society of Consultant Pharmacists, said if conditions don't change, more local pharmacies may have to close. Here he is from yesterday during this committee hearing.
Everything that's been said today with regard to the fact that these vertical integrations, this immense power, the fact that there isn't leverage amongst pharmacy providers, whether they're independent or chain, is the point of that FTC report, is that they're wielding power, they're reducing competition, they're self-dealing and self-preferring, and it's creating, profit on the PBM side and really restricting access and business on the independent pharmacy side and the smaller pharmacy side. I think the other thing from the FTC report that's so glaring is that the FTC even recognizes their own failure in overseeing and policing this vertical integration. And I think part of the answer to your question, why is this report interim, is, as we've heard today, with all kinds of acronyms and complexities, this is super complex. It's not easy, even easy for the FTC to pull out what's going on in order to make a definitive answer to what's the solution. A lot of states, and one of the reasons that we're here today, a lot of states are saying the same thing. They're saying, this is complex. It's purposely complex. It's not transparent. We can't see it. All we can do is make sure that we throw a life raft to pharmacies and make sure that they can survive until we figure out better ways to oversee and bring this industry into some sort of compliance as it relates to healthcare. That's why you see states like Mr. Rose's home state of Kentucky guarantee their dispensing rate of 1064 to all of their pharmacies until we figure out, what should that dispensing fee be, and how do we untie or untwine all of the complexity around drug pricing that's forcing a lot of pharmacies out of business. Michigan did the same thing, a direct pass-through of their $10.80 dispensing fee to their pharmacies until they can figure out how do we better police and oversee these issues. And they're doing it at the state level because, again, from the FTC report, there's recognition that the federal government has been slow to react and slow to deploy any potential solutions.
So in that study released this month by the Federal Trade Commission, Kevin reports that it said PBMs hold substantial influence over independent pharmacies by imposing unfair and harmful contractual terms that can impact the pharmacy's ability to stay in business. So as part of the FTC's investigation, they requested documentation from 6 of the largest PBMs in the country. Those are CVS Health's Caremark, Cigna's Express Scripts, United Health's Optimum RX, Prime Therapeutics, Humana's Pharmacy Solutions, and Med Impact. So these House hearings, I think this is like the second of a series that the Illinois House committee's looking at. They're trying to better understand pharmacy benefit managers impacting the cost of pharmaceutical drugs in the state of Illinois. So they've been hearing from a variety of people. Connor Rose with the Pharmaceutical Care Management Association, he said that there was a previous FTC report that actually looked favorable at pharmacy benefit managers.
To be clear, this report is not the official position of the FTC. Rather, it is more or less a description of the current marketplace. And several of the allegations contained in the report are not new or novel, and I'm sure you all have discussed some of these at length in previous hearings. Much of those allegations are based on speculations presented without empirical evidence, simply put. The report relies heavily on anecdotes, outside commentary, and public comments, including over 160 submitted anonymously. And the lack of empirical analysis simply does not meet usual FTC standards, and that's been noted by 2 commissioners outlining in their opinions. I think the biggest, or the most notable thing is that it fails to reconcile, the FTC fails to reconcile its own position on previous examinations of the PBM industry, specifically PBM ownership of mail-order pharmacies, which that study demonstrated that PBM-owned mail-order pharmacies actually do provide value to consumers. They do provide value to plan sponsors in the form of lower drug costs. And finally, I think also notably, this report fails to make mention that there are 70 PBMs operating nationwide. I've been at PCMA for 6 years, and within that 6 years, I've seen at least 2 or 3 PBMs come to market. You've had a lot of disruptors coming onto the market, like market-keeping cost-plus drugs. And so a lot of that innovation stems from reactions in the market, and then our PCMA members and non-PCMA members are bringing new models and ways to do business to the marketplace, including you're seeing more transparent pricing models, et cetera. So again, this is a competitive environment. There is a lid for every pot. If one PBM is not going to do something for an employer, a union, or the state of Illinois, there's another PBM that will fill its place. Going forward, we urge the FTC to examine and do a robust analysis of the troves of data that our companies or our members have provided to the FTC. And going forward, after that analysis, any policymaking should be in part based on that empirical analysis, which we look forward to. So look forward to answering any questions.
You can get really in the weeds with this stuff, and that's what legislators are doing with hearings. That one yesterday up in Chicago. I imagine we'll see more hearings into pharmacy benefit managers. You've had a lot of other discussions about managed care organizations, MCOs in the healthcare space, how all of this impacts taxpayer-subsidized healthcare, how this impacts you as the private consumer wanting to go to your local pharmacy. You know your pharmacist. You know them by name. Maybe they're getting ready to pack up because they're not able to make the money they need to keep their business open. These are issues impacting people across the board, all across the state of Illinois. So I imagine we'll hear a lot more about this in the weeks, months, and maybe even years ahead. It is Illinois in Focus Daily. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Join us each and every weekday morning at America's Talking Network on YouTube. Search for the podcast, Illinois in Focus. And if you can't watch us live each and every weekday morning, get that podcast and stay up to date with what's going on here in the land of Lincoln. I'm Greg Bishop. Follow me anywhere. Search Bishop on Air, X, Facebook, elsewhere. You got a news tip? Email me, gbishop, gbishop, at thecentersquare.com. gbishop at thecentersquare.com. Thanks for checking us out each and every weekday morning at America's Talking Network with Illinois in Focus Daily.